Welcome to the February 23rd, 2026 West Clermont School Board meeting. Mr. Romano, please take roll.
Mr. Patton.
Present.
Mr. Chumley.
Present.
Ms. Sanborn.
Present.
Mrs. Spencer.
Present.
Mr. Rudy.
Present.
All present.
Thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next up is the motion to adopt the agenda. Would someone like to make a motion?
I have something I'd like to add to the agenda.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion that the West Clermont Local School District do a request for proposal for a new law firm to represent the school district, and I am asking for a second to this motion.
Okay. Does she have a second?
I'll second it for her.
Okay, thank you. Is there any discussion? I have a discussion. What is the reason or what's the purpose or the thought process on this?
The cost involved, our financial future is has concerns, and I'm concerned about our fees that we're paying to our current law firm.
Okay. So do you think that there's going to be additional fees with the another attorney that we were to go with, or is there anything that you're displeased with the current attorney that we have?
I just feel that it's time for us to look at other options versus what we have now.
Okay. Does anybody else have any other discussion?
No, I just think competition's a good idea, a good thing, so it wouldn't hurt to review other ones.
So my other concern or question is that I believe in January, or one of our meetings in January, we voted to renew that contract with him, and so we're under current contract with him, so I'm not sure what that would do, and what that could potentially cost the district to get out of that contract without just cause. And so I'm just not sure what the just cause is that would perhaps get us to be able to move out of that contract.
Well, I would like to see what the other law firms,
It's my understanding you've done some research on that on your own. You've taken that upon your own to do some research. Is that correct?
yeah, I did, because I want to look at other options and other opportunities for us to have someone else give us different ideas, different costs, different whatever,
So
community involvement or whatever that they can provide for us.
As my understanding, and this is unfortunately an interesting time that we picked this with the students that we have here watching us, but it's my understanding as a board member, we aren't board members until the five of us are sitting here. Individually, us to reach out to subcontractors or contractors steps out of our bounds and out of our wheelhouse. Our authority is to direct and to guide the treasurer and superintendent to go through and do any type of contract or to do any type of negotiation. And it's just interesting that you've taken this upon yourself to go out and solicit from somebody as an individual. You aren't a board member as an individual. You are an individual until the five of us are sitting here. So I just find that interesting that you've taken that upon yourself to do that without any guidance from the board.
Because I feel it's necessary that we get our financial situation in a better shape, and I feel that we need to do whatever we can to look at our finances. Every aspect of our finances we have to look at, and
Tina.
so I just feel that it's okay to do this. I have had a small conversation with Dr. Foltz about this already. And he is aware of this.
And that's perfectly fine, but Dr. Foltz doesn't take meeting orders from one individual. He takes it from the board. So we as the board have to make that decision, and then we give him his marching orders which direction to travel. So it sounds like you've done a lot of backdoor deals and backdoor conversations without
I didn't
the
do
board.
any backdoor deals.
Well, you've had backdoor conversations that the board was not aware of. So
Right.
none of us was aware that you were taking it upon yourself. I found out inadvertently that you were doing that you were reaching out to other attorneys and other law firms to get bids and solicit bids. That's not your role. Your role is for us as a board to make the decision and then take that and give that to Dr. Foltz or Dan to then go out and get the bids and to get those things. You've done that yourself, and that's not your role. So, that's the part that's very interesting. And again, I don't know what kind of the contract, I don't know if we have any just reason to get rid of our attorney. And the fact of the matter is that you sit here and say that we need to look at every cost. I assure you that I have sleepless nights worrying about the future of West Clermont. I think we all have sleepless nights. I don't want to speak for everybody, I'll speak for myself. I have sleepless nights on what our district is. I've lived it. I've lived the no busing. I've lived the specials being cut. It is not a good time to be in, but it's no fault of our own. So we're all looking at different reasons and different ways that we can save the district money and keep our district moving in the direction that we're going and not going backwards. So I find that interesting that you're wanting to seek the attorney. But again, at this point, the motion has been put on the floor, so I guess we will take a vote at it at this point.
So just a point of clarity. The motion is to amend the agenda to add an action item to look at and sending out a request for proposal for qualifications for legal services.
Correct.
Okay, so the action item or the motion isn't acting on that item, is to amend the agenda to
To
add
put that on, okay?
Okay, correct?
So we're making a motion to add that to the agenda. Okay. One of the other things also I'm going to say is that moving forward, this is not the first time that you've taken it upon yourself to go outside of this board and to do things on your own. You've done that multiple times. You've done that with the Union Township Administrator. You've done that with our superintendent directions. That needs to stop. If you're going to do something, the board has to to have a deciding factor in that as well. You as Tina Sanborn cannot go among yourself and start soliciting all of these things. It doesn't work that way. We have a handbook, which I'm going to read from, that you guys wanted. It's important to read by this. This is our binding guidelines. This is what we do. And you've stepped out of bounds on this. Mr. Romano, what are we doing now at this point?
There was a motion to amend the consent agenda to add an action item regarding requesting proposals for legal services. So the vote is on, the motion is on, and it was seconded, to vote on whether or not to amend the agenda to add that action item. Okay? We're not acting on the action item.
On the action item,
We're
just
acting on
adding it to the
amending
agenda.
The consent agenda.
Okay.
Okay?
Is everybody clear on that? Roll call, please.
Okay. Ms. Sanborn,
Yes.
Mr. Rudy,
Yes.
Mrs. Spencer,
Yes.
Mr. Patton,
No.
Mr. Chumley.
No.
3 yes, 2 no. So the consent agenda is amended at some point to add an action item requesting the solicitation for proposals for legal services. Okay? So my advice would be that we add that action item at the end of the consent agenda?
At the consent agenda? I don't want to put that with the consent agenda because I don't want to ruin the consent agenda.
It would be the consent agenda. It would be a
No,
separate
a
item.
separate item, okay?
Separate item.
You're doing it after the consent agenda.
And on a side note, guys, I truly apologize for this. This was not how I intended the board meeting to go. I do apologize to the parents, to the students that are here today. I didn't mean to take from your guys's, this is really what we're here for, is to celebrate your guys' success and what you guys do for our district. So for that, I do apologize. There's just a few things, business orders that we did need to address. And so again, I truly, from my bottom of my heart, I apologize.
But on that same note, it's good to see some action within roles like this.
This is actually how it works.
Because this stuff doesn't happen very often, but it does happen, so
It
it's
does
good to
happen.
see why.
Okay. So now we're on to recognition.
And with that being said, we are making two swaps. We're gonna do the student voice. We're gonna let the student voice, where you at, Jen? We're gonna do the student voice first and the recognition second. So we are gonna make those two swaps, just to help move things along and stuff. So I will,
So I would say, we amended the agenda. I would go through and do 3.01, motion to adopt the agenda as amended. Okay? So you're gonna do that now first. 3.01?
Added it as,
Oh,
say what now, Mr. Romano?
Item 3.01 is motion to adopt the agenda.
Correct, and we just made
The
that.
agenda was amended, so
So
now
now
you're
we're
going to
making it-
adopt the amended
the
agenda.
amended agenda.
Okay,
Okay?
sorry, guys.
That's
I
okay.
apologize.
So you need a motion to adopt the agenda as amended.
Someone like to make a motion?
A motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Rudy. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Spencer,
Yes.
Mr. Rudy,
Yes.
Mr. Chumley,
Yes.
Mr. Patton,
Yes.
Ms. Sanborn.
Yes.
5 yes to adopt the amended agenda. Okay?
Okay, we back on track now?
Yes, sorry, thank you.
No, you're good. Again, guys, I apologize. We're gonna swap the two.
So it's now. Meeting now.
Well, good evening, Mr. Romano, Dr. Fultz, and the board. It is my honor tonight to present our student council. These young leaders consistently, they're demonstrating responsibility, service, and they are committed to making Willowville a place where everyone wants to be. They're very excited tonight to show their work, their accomplishments, and some goals that they've set for our school. And I am extremely proud of all of them for stepping into a leadership position at our school and everything that they've accomplished so far. And I am looking forward to what they have left to do this school year. And I do want to thank Mrs. Arnold and Mrs. Balmus for their time and their commitment, because they play a vital role in these students and their responsibility and their confidence as leaders. So I would like for all of you just to stand for a second so you can be recognized. And those of you guys that are talking through the slides, head on up. So you're going to go first. So do you think you can speak into that?
Yeah, Ms. Hyler, you may want to take the microphone out.
Okay.
a little bit.
Well, I told him we were probably going to have to take it out, but I wanted to make sure. Here you go. And so we'll need the next slide. There we go.
Mission statement. Our mission as the student council is to be leaders in our school, respect students, plan service projects that support our community, and make our school a better place for everyone. Our accomplishments are: we read to guests at the Santa breakfast, we presented ideas at the PTO meeting, we created posters of encouragement for the 3rd grade OST testing, we met and greeted veterans, we welcomed parents at the kindergarten Christmas program, we also sent staff shout-outs and bus driver recognitions.
Our community service. We have done the Thanksgiving food drive to support the IMP in our parish ministry. We have also done the mitten/hat tree to support St. Vincent de Paul. And we have also done the Super Bowl food drive to support the IMP and WV West Blessing Box.
Here are some action steps for the survey results. Reintroduce the ambassador program, an anti-bullying presentation, implement more surveys to give students more voice, help students with academic during morning time based on teacher recommendations through a Google form. Some ongoing projects that we have done are the building buddies, participating in daily morning announcements, using speaker and leadership skills to promote school events to homerooms, surveys to students to give them a voice, help with PBIS events, and ambassador program to welcome new students.
Our future projects. Volunteering at the carnival to support our PTO, a pep rally before the start of state testing, and a Memorial Day parade, and kindergarten and 5th grade graduation.
Our future goals is to better connect student council with Leader and me by giving students more opportunities to practice leadership, teamwork, and service.
Well done.
Students at KJ, we appreciate you being here. We would love for you to shake our Board of Education hand. And we have a small gift for coming out. Great job in the pre. Go and stand up. Wait up. Yeah. All right. Give them a compliment.
Thank you so much for your good job, guys. Thank you so much. Well done. Thank you. Well done. Thank you so much. Thank you. Well done. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Great job. Congratulations.
Great job. Yes, they did.
Congratulations. 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 Yeah. Congratulations. 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 There you go. Congratulations. There you go. Very good. Yes. Did you go out somewhere? Yeah, of course. Where'd you go? I'd just like to add too, I know that I love seeing our kids here, and I love that they're taking on leadership roles, and that's a big part of what we try to teach them is how to be learners and how to be leaders, and that feeds into what we've been working on with Leader in Me. But I also want to say thank you to the parents who also put in the time and effort to grow them this way and to bring them, share them with us, and to be here tonight. So I just want to say, parents, thank you as well.
Cookie party?
Thank you all
Thanks
for coming.
again.
Thank you guys again.
Cool.
Thank you for being here. Was your old student?
Yeah.
That's fun.
She was a little troublemaker. I'm the way she got along with. But I love her. Smart, and wonderful mother, and he's a great father.
Oh, good. Well, that's fun to see the circle.
As they exit, if you are here for Stay in the Game, attendants, if you could come join me, so our staff here for Stay in the Game.
That way it's my
Oh, I know you.
She's my cosmic daughter.
Oh, is she? She's my daughter's neighbor. Well, I worked with her too for years.
Karen
Twin.
and I know.
Oh, yeah.
Karen's like a sister.
I understand.
You need to talk after this because
I will understand. We gotta get this meeting.
okay,
You can call me later, not now. It's not the time to have this conversation. Thank you.
I will.
Okay. All right, more exciting celebrations tonight. Always the best part of the night. So President Patton, members of the board, thank you for allowing us to share. We're going to sandwich students and then staff, and then we're going to go back to students. So stay in the game, attendance incentive. Student success starts with school attendance. Students who are absent from school miss important learning opportunities, which can be difficult or even possible to make up. The mission of Stay in the Game Attendance Network is to prioritize attendance by connecting its users to resources aimed at tackling chronic absenteeism. The Ohio Department of Education and Workforce, a program from Harvard University called Proving Ground, and local partners, including FC Cincinnati, are deeply committed to this mission. West Clermont has made good attendance a focus and a priority. FC Cincinnati has recognized the following staff for their efforts and exemplifying consistent practices that have shown tremendous progress and success in student attendance. These members here tonight are from each of our schools and a part of the attendance action teams, and we would like to read their names, and then each of you will receive your certificate along with a little blurb of the nomination that you got for your work at your school. So that's on your piece. So Carolyn Holland from Amelia, Nancy Edmondson, Kimberly Jetter, Sarah Mattingly, and Beth White from Clough Pike, Lacey Young from Holly Hill, Lori McMillan from Merwin, Sydney Hardy, Trey Moore, Erica Johns, and Kelly Beatty from Summerside, Jessica Bode and Amy Kleinmeyer from Willowville, Jennifer Bottoms from WT, Eileen Gorman from West Clermont Middle School, and Stephen Brady from West Clermont High School. So congratulations for that work. It's critically important for our students to show up every day.
No, it's cold in here. They must have much. Thank you.
All right, we're going to have Aaron do this, like, you guys.
Chuck. Chuck.
Can you get my chair?
He's not paying attention. I just, Chuck. Is there any cards? Is there any cards? There's one?
One more.
Oh.
Yes, sorry. All right. The thespian group want to come up here? All right, one more group, so those young Willowville students turn into these amazing theater cast and crew. So you see the whole progression. So this is a West Clermont High School Thespian Conference recognition. West Clermont High School is part of the International Thespian Society. In April, the Ohio Thespian Festival will host more than 1,500 thespians from across Ohio. This year, with us is the cast and crew of Girls in the Boat, which was this year's fall play, and they have been selected to perform as one of the conference's main stage performance under the direction of Miss Nicole Line. So, cheers to you. This is an incredible honor, and we are excited to be recognizing West Clermont's amazing theater program. The cast and crew are on board for the experiments. Congratulations on this honor, and certainly future stars in the making. Tonight, we also want to honor the following 3 students who received superior ratings for the recent competition. With this rating, they have the opportunity to go to the International Thespian Festival in June at Indiana University. So congratulations to Abigail Cooper, grade 10, with her superior rating in acting. Who is that? Stella Harvey, grade 12, for her superior rating in acting. And London Bowling, grade 11, for her superior rating in sound design. And we have your certificates here, so we are going to give, Miss Line is going to take the whole cast and crew. So we will give that to you. And then we have London, we have Abigail, and we have Stella. Okay, thank you. And you're going to follow through there. Thank you. Sure. Then we'll get a picture.
What's up? Congratulations.
Such a dramatic exit. Sorry, had to say it.
Meeting's over.
Yes.
Next up is, get back on
So
track
where
here.
are we?
Next up is public speaking. It looks like we have no cards. Moving on to the consent agenda. I believe that will be Josh. So don't sit. Let me pause you real quick. For clarifications, where are we putting this?
That's after the consent agenda, we'll vote on it separately.
Okay, for the next.
Right? I think that was your
Yes.
question.
Okay, yep, thank you.
Good evening. In front of you is the personnel agenda for Monday, February 23rd. As always, I want to make sure I highlight our retirees on this agenda. We have Jennifer Hickey, who is currently serving as a 5th grade teacher at Willowville Elementary. Jennifer has served the West Clermont District for 31 years. Also, I'd like to recognize Roger Thornburg, who has served the district for 31 years and who is currently the District Operations and Projects Supervisor. Do you have any questions regarding the personnel agenda at this time?
Could you wish the retirees good luck and big thanks from us? I
Absolutely.
know both of them, they're both very hardworking. It's going to be a lot.
31 years is a long time to
Yeah.
serve the district. That's really awesome. Thank you.
Good evening. We are, the next one's a resolution authorizing the membership to the Ohio Athletic Association. I want to give a shout out to Angie. We normally put this on to get done in February, and we were scrambling in July to get it done, so we are way ahead of the game for the resolution. And again, this is to be a part of OXSAA for next year. We do have to pass a resolution as for the board, so that's what that is about. The next 7.03, authorization for the solicitation of the bids for Holly Hill Elementary window replacements. We've been talking about Holly Hill windows for a long time, so we are going to be getting bids for that. We will be asking for the total project, and then it also could be broken down into parts if we wanted to do it. Highest needs first. If you go back to the facilities assessment, highest needs first as far as windows go, and we could stretch that over a couple different building projects as far as the summer goes. So we will.
How many windows are you looking at Holly Hill?
What we got, Jeff? What's the total?
44.
44.
Is that all of them?
All of them.
Okay, that's all.
So we could do the project, all 44 all at once, or we could do 22 and 22.
Or it could be 8, could be 12, it could be however we break them down. I know we got some high needs ones, the ones we had pictures of, if you remember last year. We know that we have those anywhere from 8 to 12, and then we could break it down as they get into that as well as we look at the assessment. But
Eventually.
it all comes down to the dollars and how much we have to spend in the summer, and Dan's asked us to get the full bid, and then we can look at it from there. Oh, it's 7.04, we have another vending machine that went down, so we'll be disposing of another vending machine. We actually could not find parts for this vending machine, so this is an additional one that we had last month for the disposal of one of our vending machines.
There was an additional item that was added at the last minute too, which is a dishwasher.
A dishwasher?
Yeah, was added.
Yeah, and Holly Hill dishwasher.
And a Holly Hill dishwasher.
That's what it is.
I think that's it, that's all I have.
Good evening. I have 2 overnight field trips for you. First is 7:05, and actually it's very timely that we were recognizing our high school thespian club, because this first overnight field trip is for those students to attend the Ohio Thespian Festival, of which you heard that they have an opportunity to perform at the main stage. So this field trip is April 10th through 12th. at Chillicothe High School. So that is my first request. And then agenda item 7.06. This is something that we have the good fortune to bring to you each year. It is seeking permission for our HOSA student leadership students to attend the State Leadership Conference. This field trip, or this trip, takes place April 15th through 17th at the Glass City Center in Toledo, Ohio. Are there any questions about either of those? Great, thank you so much.
Item 7.07 is request for approval of the minutes of the meeting that was held on January 28, 2026. It was a regular business meeting. Item 7.08 is request for approval of the donations as presented. There are two listed. Snapdragon Books donated 30 books to Amelia Elementary Library, and there was an anonymous donation of $100 to Holly Hill Elementary for kindergarten supplies. Item number 7.09 is a resolution amending or supplementing the FY26 annual appropriations as amended. The amendment is not to the general fund, that stays the same, but there are several local funds and some state and federal programs where we did receive some additional funding and/or there was a reclassification of funds. So those are listed in that resolution. Item 7.10 is request for approval of purpose and budget statements for this current fiscal year. The one request is for the high school Wolves Theater as revised and requested. Item 7.11, accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission. I'd like to make a note on this. Again, we filed our tax budget. The board approved that in January. It was filed with the county auditor. The next step following the filing of that tax budget is the county auditor then presents this resolution to us, filling in the amounts and the rates as determined following that tax budget approval. Dr. Foltz and myself did attend the Budget Commission meeting in early February. It was the first time, quite frankly, I attended a tax budget commission meeting. And so we were proud to do that, meeting the members of that commission. So again, item 7.11 is accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission. Item 7.12 is the financial statements, bill pays, and listed improvements. So the motion is to approve those as presented. Those are for the reports and statements as of January 2026. So the consent agenda includes items 7.10 through 7.12.
Thank you. You've heard the recommendation. Would someone like to make a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Rudy. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Sanborn. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Rudy.
Yes.
Ms. Sanborn.
Yes.
Mr. Chumley.
Yes.
Mr. Patton.
Yes.
Mrs. Spencer.
Yes.
5 yes. And so, if you want to add, there was an amendment to the agenda to add, and I will read what I have and always open to staying corrected on what the amendment is, okay? So, or the resolution is. Unless you want to recite the resolution, or do you want me?
I can do it.
You have it? Okay. Thank you.
I would like to make a motion that the West Clermont Local School District do a request for proposal for a new law firm to represent the school district, and I am asking for a second to this motion.
And you should put that on the form as a motion.
Okay.
So it's moved by Ms. Sanborn.
So she made the motion. Now we need a second, correct? Because
Correct.
now we're voting on
Now
whether
you're
we're moving
voting
forward or
on
not.
that action item.
Okay, so
Correct.
now that action item, we're deciding if we're moving forward or not with that action item. So is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Rudy. Now we'll go back to the discussion piece, correct?
Correct.
So again, I mean, I kind of spoke my piece at the beginning, but I guess my question is what prompted this? Where did this come from? I know that you're saying that we're wanting to save how much money we spend. which is what we've tasked the whole administration to do. So how much money are we spending on the legal fees, and what do you think we're saving?
In the previous administration, over the last 7 years, we spent $1.55 million on legal fees, and I just think that's a significant amount of money that we have spent.
So you keep saying you think, and I understand that you think that we spend that much, but again, what is the justification? So is this because the previous administration is doing tea and crumpets with the attorney and it's billable minutes? Or is this because this is legitimate business that we're doing with our attorney?
I have no idea
that
what it
costs-
was, who did what. I don't know who was all involved. I know that some of the cabinet team members call the attorney for certain issues and certain concerns, and I understand that, but I think that that is a significant amount of money that was spent, and I'm very concerned about that.
Again, I think it would be fair to say that we're all concerned with every dollar that we spend at West Clermont. We want to make sure that our money is being put to good things, that we're spending it in good purposes. But again, I guess I go back to, what is the bigger picture that he kept us out of legal troubles? So what is it that we saved us versus some type of a payout that we had to pay if we violated somebody's IEPs or somebody's, staffing rights or something? How much money did he save the district by seeing those?
I don't know. I don't have any of that information. We're not giving that information
so we've also-
as a.
You most certainly are
I
giving.
mean, I don't know how much I know how much each individual payout is, but I don't have a total of each individual payout.
I was going to say, you most certainly are
I
given
do.
that stuff.
I do
We're given
know
all of
that.
that information by the treasurer.
Mhm.
So then I guess my next question is, because we've already established that you've taken it upon yourself as Tina Sanborn, not as a board member, but as Tina Sanborn, to reach out to two different two different law firms. So what are they promising you, or what are they telling you that the cost is going to be?
They're not promising me anything. They said we would have to do a request for a proposal and figure out what the cost would be, and they would get with the current administration, and they would submit bids to the current administrators.
Can I ask a question? How long have we had the firm that we have right now, Dan? Do we know how long we've had the firm that we have right now?
I don't know the duration of it, but it's been since I've been here, so at least 5.5, 6 years.
5.5 or 6
at
years.
least.
It's been a lot longer
But
than that.
It's been longer than that?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
It was
That's-
before I retired. I retired at 13. It
The
was
first
well
time you
before that.
retired?
Yeah. It was well before then.
And I guess out of curiosity, since we're discussing this piece of it, out of those two law firms, how did you come up with those two that you came up with?
Because I Googled them to find out who represents school districts, and those are the two that are in the greater Cincinnati area, and that's how I came
So
up
what
with
other
it.
school districts do those two attorneys that they use, what other school districts do they work for?
They work for New Richmond, Milford, Bethel, Williamsburg. The one law firm does. The other one works for only one law firm, and I don't remember off the top of my head which school district it was.
I think sometimes we got to look at how much money he saves us by not getting us into keeping us out of the legal piece of it. And so, does anybody else have any other discussion or anything on this? So what we would be doing is that this is the proper way to doing it, is that you wouldn't be reaching out to anyone. And again, I have tons of documents where you've done this on multiple occasions. And I think today's why it's frustrating is because you've done that with the superintendent research. You had me calling different people because Tina Sanborn called someone. That needs to stop. Tina
They
Sanborn.
reached out to me and said.
No, ma'am.
Yeah,
No, ma'am.
no, I have a text. I can show you.
I have the documentations where you've had me call these people, and it's you reaching out to them.
Okay.
It's you reaching out to Union Township Administrator, telling them that me and Miss Spencer misunderstood TIFs and wanted him to call, and he watched YouTube. Those things didn't happen. That part needs to stop. The board is who makes the decision, not Tina Sanborn. And so what needs to happen is that what you did today is the way that the proper procedure should have been from the get-go. You made a motion, he, for whatever reason, seconded it, and then now we're here having a discussion piece of it, which is how it is to go. Then, depending on how the voting goes, if it passes and the majority speaks, then it goes to those two, then to go out and they will call the attorneys. Maybe not the two that you said for them to call, but they will reach out to the attorney that will best suit our needs as a district. because those two may not suit our needs. Again, we are one of the biggest districts in this county, and so our needs could be a little bit different, and they could be a little bit more costly. And so we gotta make sure that we have someone that understands our district. So again, this is the proper procedure, not you doing things on your own as Tina Sanborn. So that is the piece that I wanna say on that. I'm said my piece, so.
I do have one more thing to mention about, because this is my going on my second and a half year, anyway. But the lawyers that we were under did not find that when the administration was negotiating the contract, that they were also negotiating, it was kind of a conflict of interest, because they were also getting the raises that they were negotiating. Is that not correct? And then we had to change your contract because the lawyer said, no, you can't do that anymore.
The provision in your contract or my contract is what they're talking about, right?
Right, and but the lawyers, you guys were doing that for quite some time. Is that correct?
That provision was in my contract from the beginning. correct?
Okay.
That had been longstanding
It's been
since
in the
before I
previous
retired
contracts.
also.
Right, so, but the lawyer, but it was a conflict of interest, wasn't it, right? That's
Recently,
why,
that
well,
came up as.
That
being
came
one.
up, so we had to change your contract or open it for that specific reason, that the lawyers didn't catch that particular thing, right?
It was,
Am I?
I'm not disputing that. What
Okay.
I'm saying, all I know it was in the contract. Whether or not it was brought to the prior board, I don't know.
Okay, but
But you're
that's
correct, it
that's
wasn't
all,
in your contract.
that's all I'm saying.
WCEA asked for that provision
Mm-hmm.
to, I don't know what word, appease members, that the administrators weren't going to make a whole lot more money,
Right.
more
But
raises.
it ended up being a conflict of interest,
Yes.
right? Because they were negotiating, and then they were also gonna get whatever the percentage or whatever.
But that was
But they
recently
had to
ruled,
change. Yeah, we did.
correct, as a conflict of interest?
I would think that there was a time where, and again, I'm trying to use my memory as well for the 14 years being here, that I believe there was a time where the teachers got minimal to zero raise and the administrators got a raise. And that caused a lot of rift between the association and the administration. And so the conversation at that point said, basically, if it's me too, if you get this, we get this, so that one is not getting more than the other. Recently, and that has been practiced for a long period of time. Recently, and Dan kind of brought it to the attention of everybody, it is, you, because you're at the negotiations table,
Right.
you shouldn't be doing that. And so that's why we pulled it out of our contract.
Yeah, just as I'm thinking the whole thing through too again, I think there's a distinction too, you have to be careful of saying something was a conflict versus
Right.
a perceived conflict.
Okay.
So I
Right.
think
Okay.
because I think those were the wordings that were used, so.
Okay, I was just checking.
Yeah, we felt that it was not, right for us to get what the administrators got, what the teachers got, because we were the ones talking to the board. The board gives the contract. The board gives that. We're liaisons of the board to work with the association. So we felt it was a conflict for us to be objective while we were trying to liaison with the
Absolutely.
board. And so that led to us changing that.
Right. But it all went through the lawyers. It had to come from them, right? Didn't,
It had to come from them? I think we brought it to them and had that conversation with them.
did it not go through the lawyers?
I know originally I had a conversation a while back,
Right.
okay, and it was exactly as Mr. Rudy had mentioned it, it had been a longstanding provision in the contract.
Okay.
I think
I thought, okay.
I think what that does too, one of the concerns about pulling that out, if I was WCE, if I'm a member of WCEA, I would say, oh, wow, so you can give me zero, but you can give your admin raises. Because that's a perceived, if it's not connected, then, then that's a possibility. So that made it more clear, and now we've made it more murky, but just because it's a little bit more
I just
murky
assumed that the lawyer would have picked that up and said, oh, no, you can't do that, because that's it doesn't, however it's worded, I'm not
Yeah.
saying it correctly, but I would have assumed that
We
the-
come back to a
the
perceived,
lawyer-
perceived
okay,
conflict of
perceived.
interest versus a
Okay.
legal conflict of
I don't
interest.
know
It may
if
not
it's-
have been illegal, but it was a perceived.
That's all I'm saying.
So, but to make sure I'm understanding, so it wasn't like it went through the attorney and he missed something, right? Is that what we're saying? Like it was brought to the attention that it could have been a perceived conflict?
Right.
I don't know.
I mean, I guess that's what, that's what you're saying, is you feel like the attorney missed something?
Yes, I would have assumed the lawyers would have looked at it. I would assume that they are at the negotiating table and everything has to go through them legally, that would have been picked up somewhere along the line. That's all I'm saying.
Well, at the end of the day, they're negotiating with the Board of Education, not with the
Right.
administrators. The administrators are there as an arm to help do that. We saw that as a perceived conflict of interest.
Okay.
But it may not be a legal conflict of interest.
Okay.
But because of their actually not negotiation with the administrators, they're negotiation with the board.
I got you. Okay. I was just throwing that out.
Yeah, yeah. It's a good question.
Is there any other discussion? Okay, so no other discussion.
Call the roll. Ms. Sanborn?
Yes.
Mr. Rudy?
Yes.
Mr. Chumley?
No.
Mr. Patton?
No.
Mrs. Spencer?
Yes.
3 yes, 2 no. Motion passes.
Next on the Superintendent Business 8.01. That's our CAC. So in front of you is the, we had our first informational meeting for the CAC. Back in January, the board voted to establish the CAC to look at our financial, the current financial forecast and how that impacts West Clermont. Part of the bylaws is I have to bring the non-staff CAC members forward for board approval. You have a list attached there, and I would recommend that you approve the list as presented.
Thank you. You've heard the recommendation. Would someone like to make a motion?
So move.
Thank you, Mr. Chumley. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Sanborn. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Chumley?
Yes.
Ms. Sanborn?
Yes.
Mrs. Spencer?
Yes.
Mr. Patton? I'm
Yes.
sorry? Yes.
The same board, did you say yes?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Sorry.
And Mrs. Spencer?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Mr. Patton?
Yes.
Mr. Rudy?
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, sorry, thank you, Mr. Romano. A couple comments. First, I want to talk about the success that our sports teams have had of this last season. Boys bowling were ECC champs. The girls bowling was ECC champs.
Wow.
Girls basketball was ECC champs. Bryce Cousins was the ECC diving champ. And our competitive cheer team placed second in the ECC. Bryce Collins and Oleg Bryan are both state qualifiers, so they're going to go to the state for diving. The boys bowling is also the sectional champs, and that's the first time that's happened ever. And the girls bowling placed third in sectionals, which heads them to the districts. So we're very excited about our current teams out there doing great things and supporting West Clermont and representing West Clermont well. Second thing on my agenda is the Love WC Week. This is day one of Love WC. So this is where every year in February, we pick a week and we make it Love WC Week, and it's about celebrating across the district of being West Clermont strong and helping our community commit to our students and that every student to learn, lead, and succeed. Had we had school today, it would have been wear pink, red, or school spirit. Tuesday's college and career inspired clothes. Wednesday is pajamas or comfortable clothing that is school appropriate. Thursday is match with a friend, class, or team, and Friday is dress for success. So you're dress up spiffy. We are taking donations. We're working with the food pantries. They said the biggest things that they need, that they struggle with right now is peanut butter and jelly. So we're taking donations of peanut butter and jelly at the schools. So if you want to donate those, that would be great as well. And I know there are, I do not have that list with me, but there are certain restaurants that you go to this week, and if you say you're from West Clermont, proceeds comes back. I think today was Cane's. Today was Cane's and Chick-fil-A, I believe. I also want to point out that tomorrow is kindergarten information night. We initially had that at the beginning of February, and lo and behold, it was a snow day. So we moved it to tomorrow. It's at the high school. Doors open at 6 p.m. So if you're If you have a child that will be entering kindergarten in August, please come out and hear about how the districts will help meet your needs and help also meet your child's principal. Today on our website was posted the West Clermont Connect Us Winter Quarterly Newsletter. It's on our website now. It kind of gives updates of all the happenings in the district since we posted the quality profile. So hop on our website and check that out. That's it for me.
My kids loved day one of,
Day one of love WC was stay home. Stay home. Yes, thank you.
Mr. Romano?
Okay, thank you. There are 4 action items. The first 3, and we do this annually in February, it's a provision of code that changed several years ago where the Board of Education has to take an active role in Board of Revision complaints that are filed. Prior to these 3 resolutions on the complaint, the property owners were notified. The letter was sent out to them notifying of this board meeting that the complaints were going to be, or the resolutions for the complaints were going to be acted upon. The first item, and I would ask that we vote on these separately, each one separately. There are 3 of them. So not 11 like we had, I think, last year or the prior year. So, and I will read it for the record, just the title of it, not the whole resolution, and then request that the board act upon them. So the first request is Resolution 9.0, or Item 9.01, Resolution authorizing the filing of an original Board of Revision complaint as authorized by Ohio Revised Code 5715.19 with the Clermont County Board of Revision asking that the true value of the property located at 4342 Glen Estee Withamsville Road be increased to the July 2024 sale price of $2,800,000.
Thank you. You've heard the recommendation. Would someone like to make a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Rudy. Is there a second?
Second. Whoever.
James?
Was that you, Ms. Spencer? Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Rudy?
Yes.
Mrs. Spencer?
Yes.
Mr. Chumley?
yes.
Mr. Patton?
Yes.
Ms. Sanborn?
Yes.
5 yes. Item 9.02 is a resolution authorizing the filing of an original Board of Revision complaint as authorized by the Ohio Revised Code 5715.19 with the Clermont County Board of Revision asking that the true value of the property located at 776 Old State Route 74 be increased to the April 2024 sale price of $4,680,000.
Thank you. You've heard the recommendation. Would someone like to make a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Rudy. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Spencer, thank you. Is there any discussion?
Where is that property?
I don't know the exact location except for this
776 Old
address.
74?
Is that the strip mall up there, maybe?
It
Well, it
could
could,
be, I'm not
there's
sure.
a lot of stuff on Old 74. I was just curious.
Yeah.
It might be where the bus.
Thank you. Mr. Young said it's a retirement home.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
oh, Eastgate Care or whatever it's called?
Care
Yeah,
Springs.
we're just, okay, thank
Is that
you.
where the Family Fun Center was?
Oh, okay, I know.
Does somebody have a Google map, please? Can we get this on Google map? Because this,
Pop it up there.
thank you. Get this on the big screen.
It is the Care
Remember East Care?
The one point is, we do not file these unless they're a considerable amount under the appraised value, okay, or the sales value. Call the roll?
Yeah,
Any more?
I believe so, yes.
All right, Mr. Rudy?
Yes.
Mrs. Spencer?
Yes.
Mr. Chumley?
Yes.
Mr. Patton?
Yes.
Ms. Sanborn?
Yes.
5 yes. And final on this item or discussion is 9.03, resolution authorizing the filing of an original Board of Revision complaint as authorized by Ohio Revised Code 5715.19 with the Clermont County Board of Revision, asking that the true value of the property located at 512 State Route 125 be increased to the October 2024 sale price of $2,050,000.
Thank you. You've heard the recommendation. Would someone like to make a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Rudy. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Spencer. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Rudy?
Yes.
Mrs. Spencer?
Yes.
Mr. Chumley,
Yes.
Mr. Patton,
Yes.
Ms. Sanborn.
Yes.
5 yes, thank you. Item 9.04 is the financial forecast that is required to be filed twice a year. If you recall, there was legislation that changed the dates from the previous fiscal year. The previous dates were the original filing or the first forecast in October, and the second one to be done in May. Those were changed, I'm sorry, it was November and then May. Those were changed so that the first forecast is filed in August with a follow-up forecast in February. We did do one last October because the legislation was past the August date, and so the first one for FY26 was in October, and the February one is being filed now. We have to submit that to the State Department of Education no later than February 28th. That filing also then gets available to the Auditor of State through that filing. Prior to that action item, though, what I'd like to do is a presentation on the 5-year forecast. And I'm not going to do, you've seen me do a presentation before, where I have numerous slides that take this matrix of numbers, looking at our actual revenue and expenses for the past 3 years. It looks at our current expenses for the current fiscal year. The old 5-year forecast went out 4+ years. Legislation changed that, so it is the current year now plus 3 years that have to be submitted. We do, and even in reviewed in the policy meeting today, we still will do a 5-year because we think that's the prudent way to go out, but we'll only submit as required by law, past 3 years, the current plus 3 years into the future. What I would like to do, though, is rather than getting into all the detail, because the detail is in the agenda, we also post the 5-year forecast that is made up of the forecast itself, the notes that accompany that forecast that provide a pretty thorough explanation of why the line items are what they are, and then there is a presentation for that. That's typically the presentation that's attached, and that is what I go through. But what I think was more important is bridging the October forecast through what this February forecast is, because the balances change significantly, and I think it's our responsibility not only to inform the board, but vis-a-vis this meeting to inform, you know, the stakeholders in this community of what's changed and why that is changing as we go forward to it. So the objective of this presentation is really to highlight I can't say 5-year anymore, to highlight the February 2026 forecast, and then create that bridge from October to where this forecast is being submitted. I think I already went through that one, but if you look at the document itself that is online, okay, I think one footnote I do want to say is we did have a finance committee meeting last Wednesday, and there's the standing agenda items that we go through, but we probably spent most of that meeting talking about the forecast and what caused the difference between October through today. Just the highlight on that forecast, again, first 3 columns are the actuals for 23, 24, 25. The current year, part of what legislation wanted to have happen is that the current year appropriations or the current year expenses align with the board adopted appropriations or budget. In past years, this district always did that, okay? We didn't have a different set of numbers. We typically put in the budget or the appropriations. And for the most part, the revenue estimate equal the certificate that we had on file with the county auditor's office, with maybe some minor variations, if that. But those two always did in this district have that law pretty much shored up and said that we should be submitting that with that. The next 3 years are projections which should reflect what our budget is expected to be, really based off a continuation of program. We go through it. So again, in this document is not just the numbers, but the footnotes and then the presentation. Okay. So what was in the October forecast? So let's just start with that. Okay, it did contain those current appropriations for '26, and then it did have some revenue assumptions consistent with what was known at that time, okay, back in that, and actually the October forecast was adopted in September, okay? It was adopted at the same time the appropriation measure was adopted. The board has to adopt its full annual appropriations by September 30th. So in September, we did that, and we also did the forecast. Those documents were aligned, okay? On the revenue assumptions, we used at that time the current state funding calculation. State uses the fair school funding formula. That fair school funding formula, for the most part, does not provide any additional revenue to the school district and has not for some time. We have basically flat revenue coming from the state. We are under a status that is called a guarantee. We're a guarantee district, meaning that we shouldn't receive dollars less than we did, and it goes back, I think, everybody says 2021, but in 2021, we didn't receive any more than we did in 2019, and you can keep going, peeling that back farther and farther, okay? The other local revenue estimates are really looking at major categories of our TIF revenue, our investments, our earnings on investments, other miscellaneous revenues, some tuition that we get through the state, items like that. For the most part, there's no significant gains on those. If we look at earnings on investments, we do know, and everybody knows, that the interest rates are going down. They kind of peaked a little bit over 5% and are sliding down, so some of that revenue is somewhat less. The property tax calculation in October, okay, for that October filing was based on an auditor's estimate, county auditor's estimate. They provide that annually to us. And at that time, what was known of the changes in either past legislation or proposed legislation, pending the fact that some of that could be reversed by the end of the calendar year, okay, with that. Okay, our cash balances then through 2030 on that September forecast, and the reason I go to 2030, to me, it's really important. That is, right now, we passed the emergency levy in 2020, and the law says I can't say renewal anymore, but to replace the proceeds of that levy, it would be projected that we would put another continuing levy on the ballot in 2030. So I think it's important that we go, and the 5 years goes at least through 2030 with that, okay, as we do that. Okay, so what did that October forecast do? And I kind of highlighted in yellow 2 line items. This is not the whole forecast. This is just the summary of it, of revenues and expenses. It projected 2 things. It projected that we would start the deficit spending, which is the revenues are exceeded by our expenses, okay, that would start this current fiscal year, and that where since the 2020 levy passage and the 2020 and 2023 reappraisals, our revenue was greater than our expenses. That's typical in the state of Ohio, so that you pass a levy for new funding, or if you're at the 20 mil floor like we were, a minimum of collecting 2% from property owners, revenue outpaces expenses for a period of time until inflation kind of catches up with those expenses or other factors catch up, and then we start spending more than we receive. That is a typical rise and fall of funding in the state of Ohio, okay? So what started to happen, or what's projected to happen this year, is our cash balance would start to be reduced. As we go forward, looking at the revenue projections and looking at, continuation of program with those inflationary expenses on it, the 2030 deficit, cash deficit, was in excess of $27 million, okay? Note that we always knew that we would need additional funding. when the levy passed in 2020, right, we had projected, the district had projected at that time, and made a commitment, in fact, that they would not come back to the voters prior to 2024, okay? Our effort was, at that time, and you gotta go back and just recall a little bit, I don't mean for this to be a history lesson, but in 2020, when that levy passed, we were in the midst of COVID, right? It just really kind of in that first year of that. Also, 2020 was a reappraisal year. Two sources of funding came out of 2020. Federal relief money because of COVID, the reappraisal money because of valuation increases. The valuation, the revenue increase from the valuation, from the reappraisal, was a consistent pattern in this school district. I came in 2020, one of the things I try not to do is you kind of go back and learn from history, but you don't really stay on it too long because you want to look at where you are and where you need to be and where you're going into the future. Because of what's going on in this legislation, I went back and looked. The survival of this district financially is because we were on the 20 mil floor. Back in 1970, I hope I get the years right, back in 1976, before most of you were probably born, okay, the General Assembly was...
I was 3.
You were 3, okay, thank you, I really appreciate knowing that, okay. Laws were passed, House Bill 920 was passed that said, hey, we can't, and because there was a lot of growth in property revenue, right, property taxes, they came back and said, hey, we can't have this. We're going to put some limitations on it. We're going to put an equalization formula on it. So if your property values go up, the rates that were passed would go down, kind of yielding a similar dollar amount, okay? The very next year, the General Assembly put a safety net on that provision. The safety net was the 20 mil floor. The safety net was put in place so districts, like West Clermont, okay, that struggled with some of those things, would be taxing or assessing at least 2%. 20 mils really equals 2% on property values, okay? That was a safety net to do it, okay? That safety net, in the future, that safety net really drove the ability for this school district to have additional revenue, okay? That was the financial survival of this school district. If you go back and look at the numbers and what had happened, okay? They did not pass a lot of levies, okay? The additional revenue came from that, to do that with it. So that's October of 2025. The forecast that I'm providing, that we're going to act on in a little bit and presenting, is a forecast that now includes the legislative changes, and I'll go through those briefly in a minute. Okay, I'm not going to take a minute, it'll be longer than a minute, but in a minute I'll go through those. Okay, it changes our cash balance in 2030 from that $27 million to over $41 million, okay, to do that, all right? Why did that happen? Okay, A, the 20 mil floor was eliminated. So provisions going forward, any additional gain in revenue was backed off. 2, there was a provision in that legislation that said, hey, we're not only going to limit what you're going to get in the future growth, okay, we're going to go back to that 23 reappraisal, and we're going to give property owners a refund or a tax credit, okay, of the valuation growth in this school district. It was about 39 to 40%. We're going to take away anything above an inflationary, they call it a deflationary rate, okay? Anything above that. That's estimated if you go back and look at the increases of 20 to 21, 21 to 22, 22 to 23, because that's what they were looking at, okay? That percent is about, that cumulative percent is about 11%. So 40 minus 11, there's going to be a tax credit of about 29%, okay, given back. For 23, assessed, collected in 24, tax year 24, collected, paid to the school district in 25. That will be deducted from our revenue in order to give it back to property owners in the community. One part of that bill back in October that there was uncertainty on, but if you read the legislation, you could have believed that we were supposed to get 2 years of make whole, so that if it was given back to the taxpayers, the state was going to make up for that. Our understanding now is it is not 2 years, but it is only 1 year, okay? 23 tax year collected in 24, okay, to do that. That's a significant dollar amount that is being backed off our revenue for starting in August of 26, this coming August, okay, to do that. The other change that occurred in our revenue forecast is the tax bills for the 25 tax years collected in 26 were sent out, and there was also a letter or information sent out to those property owners informing them, requesting them to not pay their whole bill, but just only pay what they are responsible for is that the first 6 months, okay? That letter was so that in August, when the tax credit is given to them, they didn't have to write them a check back, okay? It would just be deducted from that second half bill, okay? So the adjustment that was made in our current fiscal year, okay, we usually receive about 52 to 53% of the total taxes for the year between January and June. I requested the county auditor to give us an estimate that came back at 48%. Across those 5 years, okay, is it any less money? No. It's less money in 26 that we will receive in fiscal year 27, okay, but that adjustment was made. So if you look at why is our cash balance less in 26, that's the main driver of that difference, okay? But the main driver of going from 27 to 41, okay, are the changes in legislation. As the Finance Committee knows and reviewed with board members, the original projection was deficit of $53.9 million. The second adjustment that we made to the forecast was looking out forward and saying, okay, if our enrollment has kind of flattened, we don't know exactly when it's going to increase. We do know it will increase. But if it's kind of flattened and we know we have to make adjustments because of this result, then we did reduce out of the forecast additional staff that we had placed in there. That comes out of the salaries and it comes out of the benefits. $1 of salary also impacts $1 or an amount of retirement and benefits that would get reduced too, okay, with that. So that adjustment was made as we went forward to do that, okay? So if you look at what was the differences in the cash balances between October and this February forecast, we're 3.2 million less in this current year, 3.4 million less in the fiscal year 27, fiscal year 28, this is the amount less, okay? $8.1 million, we go down to, we lose $11 million in cash balance in 29. Difference between the 27 and the 40.6, $13.2 million, okay? So those are the differences, and they're really driven by the changes in legislation, offset a little bit by some reduction expenses that we knew were gonna happen that we put in there, okay, to do that. Okay. I'm gonna pause and say this, that again, the typical presentation would go through the revenues in more detail, the expenses in more detail, but from October through February, not much changed except for those things that I just mentioned. The revenues because of the new legislation, the expenses because of our response to that and the response to a little bit different. The enrollment growth that we expected did not occur. We do know it's coming. We don't know exactly when to do that. Okay, so those were there. What's the legislation that did that? Okay, and it's important to go through this because that's a big number. That's a big change. Okay, House Bill 186, which was passed, limited the amount of funds schools collect from property taxes and provides a credit for previous taxes paid. So when that legislation was passed, it didn't say we're going to go forward and back off some money. It basically says, hey, we're going to take back from the school district money that was already given to you by your local taxpayers. We're going to peel that back, give it back to the taxpayers. They did 2 years of that as they went forward. They also went back and said, geez, why were certain school districts getting raises of property tax revenue and the community didn't pass levies or whatever? Well, it was because of the safety net that they put in place, okay, to do that. They didn't take the 20 mil floor away. What they did is change how that is calculated and looked at, okay? They put limits on the revenue growth, that was 186, but then they came back and said, hey, your 20 mil floor, in the past, it didn't include the second safety nets, a second set of safety nets. If you go back, again, not a history lesson, but if you go back, emergency levies were put in place. Emergency levies were put in place for school districts that had difficult times passing a continuing levy, okay, a tax forever. Said, hey, maybe the community needs to see how things are. Let's just make these emergency levies because the district's in a dire situation, and you can only do those for 5 or 10 years. Go to the voters and put that in place. Safety net number 2. Safety net number 2 is gone, okay? From now on, in essence, they're continuing levies. You put the levy on the ballot. I guess you could do it for a limited period of time, 10 years or so, but it is a continuing levy that will be on the ballot, okay? So they changed the 20 mil floor. The emergency levies now that were outside the 20 mils are now included in the 20 mil calculation. So as of this tax year, okay, actually 25 collected in 26, we're off the floor. The growth that we used to get in the past because of the reappraisal, the growth in revenue, we will not get anymore, okay? And in fact, there's limitations to it, all right? So safety net 1's gone away, safety net 2, that kind of helped out, is going to be going away too as we go forward. They took money away, restricted the growth of what we would get in the future, okay? There's restrictions on inside millage. Inside millage is in our permanent improvement fund. They did do that prospectively, in other words, going forward. So the permanent improvement fund pays for the debt of the high school. So when that high school was built, the property owners paid for that high school through inside millage, which they always paid for. It was just dedicating that inside millage to the debt, okay? I know I've been told by I don't know how many people when I came here that the community thought, or people in the community thought that high school was built free. It wasn't. It was built where there was, quote unquote, maybe publicized as no new taxes, but it is tax dollars that property owners were paying, and it was specifically then what it was dedicated to was just to pay off that debt, okay, with that. The growth that the inside millage used to get is not going to occur anymore either, okay? That's been limited to the same deflationary rate or rate of inflation, and you can assume over time it's about 3%, okay? So that's what it's going to get. 2 other bills really impacted, and it's, you know, I'm not criticizing, okay? Because I think on one hand, legislators were looking at how can we take care of a tax that taxpayers paid that was at that time deemed excessive, okay, because of the 20 mil floor. How can we take care of that? But they did add 2 other provisions. House Bill 96 and 309 came back and said, hey, there's 2 other oversight entities that we're going to place on to the Board of Education, right? The Board of Education makes decisions on budgets. They make decisions on revenue that we get. And now the county commissioners can do what's called a piggyback tax credit, and they can, by June 30th of each year, they can come and sit and say, hey, we want to give the taxpayers another credit, which would be equal to, in essence, the homestead rollback credit. Okay, they can do that. That would not just be for school districts, but it would also be for the villages, townships, county itself, and other entities that collect property tax. That's not built into the forecast, but that's a vulnerability that we face that another entity can make a decision on. House Bill 309 allows the County Budget Commission, again, I said that Dr. Fultz and I attended that meeting, So when the districts and all districts submit a tax budget, that county budget commission reviews it. If they deem that our budget request, which the Board of Education approves, right? We had the Board of Education approve that tax budget in early January, then we submitted it. If they deem that, hey, that request is too high, we think your budget's too high, or you have an excess of cash, in the bank, they have the authority to reduce our rates and to reduce the collection of those property taxes, okay? So 2 risks, uncertainties, vulnerabilities up the road are from House Bill 96 and House Bill 309, okay? 2 other bills that affect us. One is House Bill 28. I did mention that, but we can't do replacement property levies. So for example, in 2030, we can't say that's a replacement emergency levy. It's got to be a continuing levy. House Bill 124 really shifts, there's right now no direct impact, but when the reappraisals come up every 3 years, in the past, the final say was with the State Department of Taxation, so the county auditors would submit what they believe the values of properties would be to the State Department of Taxation. The State Department of Taxation reviewed the data and could go back to them and say, we think your property values are too low, you need to increase them to X, okay? House Bill 124 kind of reverses that, flips that side and says, hey, the county auditors have the say, the Department of Taxation can request, and can say, hey, we think you need to look at that, but the county auditor has the final say in what it is. That who knows what will happen after that. If, part of that with the Department of Taxation was add consistency across the state. So I don't know how that will turn out, but again, it's just changing the rules of the game that could impact us as we go forward to do that. Okay. Just kind of a verification, we know that there was a lot of studies out there, different groups looked at the impact. One study out there listed West Clermont schools as the 2nd highest school district impacted. So the impact here from House Bill 186 was over $29 million, pretty consistent and comparable to what we had estimated through other calculations to do that. The list here is Clermont County. Of all the school districts, everybody is impacted except 2. Those 2 districts were not at the 20 mil floor. Every other district there was at the 20 mil floor. So again, Clermont County, which a lot of districts were protected with the safety net, that's been pulled away to do that. So we're not alone. And we're not alone in the state. Over 200 school districts were at the floor, so that's going away. So, that's into the weeds on the House bill, right? Here's the first 3 bullet points here is something that the superintendent and myself have been saying for quite a while. What did that legislation do? It took money away from us that was already given to us, okay? Taxpayers paid it for the last 2 years, okay? It took money away from us. It reduced and limited the growth that we're going to get into the future, okay? So as that 20 mil floor goes away, and as the provision is you can't collect more, the property taxes can't go up more in certain in these levies, can't go up more than the rate of inflation, okay? Good, bad, or different, that was the rules of the game, and they changed, okay? So we can't get that growth anymore. The third thing it did is it put some roadblocks or obstacles in front of us and our ability to put levies on it doesn't say you can't put a levy on the ballot, but what we can put on the ballot gets restricted. It changes dramatically from what we were able to do in the past. There's a fourth thing that I get concerned about. I don't know how well known it is out there, but our state funding is on that guarantee, like I said before. Within that state funding calculation, the state calculates a dollar amount per pupil that we should get from both state and local sources. The dollar amount that it subtracts from that per pupil amount is based off of property valuations. So rather than looking at what those bills did in property valuations and reducing them in the state funding formula, they kept the higher amounts in there. So it's almost fictitious to say or to think that, hey, your valuations are X, they're being reduced, you can't get that much revenue off of them, but in the state funding formula, we're still gonna keep that higher amount of local property, okay, which means our funding from the state is less. It increases this guarantee. Our guarantee is gonna be getting higher and higher and higher, where the ability to collect the revenue is not as high or it gets lower, okay? That's probably a weak explanation. I probably confused everybody after saying all that. The bottom line is, even if our enrollment grows, which is an indication that we should get more state funding, because of that provision that we look like our values are higher, we still will not get more money, okay? We'll still be under a guarantee. So what happens is, we don't get any more money from the state. This legislation basically limits any growth we get just to the rate of inflation, okay? So the revenue side is highly limited on growth. First couple of years here, money is being peeled back, okay? Our projections in the future are being peeled back. The result is our cash deficit, the negative number that we look at up the road, increases significantly as we do that, okay? There's several other uncertainties, but I think I gave you the major ones to do that. So where do we go from here, okay, because of the forecast like that, okay? There's only two sides of our ledger. How much money we get, called revenue, how much money we spend, called expenses. Those are the only two areas those are the two areas that we can impact. When you look at a deficit of that size, it's not just looking at one side of that ledger. It's not just looking at revenues, it's not just looking at expenses, okay? We gotta look at both of them. So we have no choice, okay? Because of this legislation and because of the impact on our forecast, we have no choice but to look at our expenses and start peeling some things back. What amount? Not sure. We have no choice but to look at additional revenue. Again, that additional revenue was always going to be something that we needed to have done. It's just bringing it more forward. We took a lot of efforts because we got additional money. We were able to extend that request, right, from our community. We were able to extend it out from 24 to 25, from 25 to 26. We thought we could go into 27, okay? In October, that's what we really believed, okay? That has to come back. If we bypass a request in 26 and it doesn't happen to 27, we lose 1 year of revenue, okay, if the issue passes or doesn't pass, okay? So we would lose that. We have to look at both sides to solve our financial problem with that, okay? To do that. Last slide, sorry. Our story is coming from 2020 to where we are today is really a great story, okay? You know, it's not a joke when I say it's one of survival, that we've survived financially and we've thrived performance-wise. We are and still are, we have been and still are one of the lowest spending per pupil districts in this state, okay? It was able to be raised a little bit because they added some of the relief money into that calculation, because we had the increase from the being at the 20 mil floor because the valuation increases. Okay, our dollar per pupil increased a little bit, but we were still in the bottom quarter, the bottom 20% of the state. Okay, that's very low. Our performance, on the other hand, went up dramatically. I can't state that performance as well as the superintendent can or Mrs. Preston can, but when you look at our graduation rate being the highest that it's ever been, is that correct? That it's ever been. When you look at the momentum awards that I see the principals out here that they work very hard for in their districts to achieve. I described the the momentum award as this. people's expectations of our performance growth is X, and we achieved X plus. We achieved better than what people projected. If we're required to give a year's worth of learning to a student, they gained more than that, okay? What they're doing. That has a high impact on our performance. If you look at the chart that's in the middle with the kind of bullseye there, it's a quadrant of where do we spend as compared to the average of the state. We are to the left of that, which means we spend less. Where are we at performance-wise through the state? If the horizontal line is the average performance, we're above it. In order to return it, to have a positive return on taxpayers' investments, that's the quadrant, that's the square you want to be in, the top left. Spend lower than the average, perform higher than the average. That's where you want to be and need to be. The spending less than the average, and I don't want to sound like a broken record saying this, but when I came to this district in 2020, there was this cry of how efficient we were. When you peeled back and looked at things, were we really efficient or were we lean? And we were just providing less to our students than we really should have been. Maybe not only to the students, but maybe even to the staff, okay? Over the years, I wanted clarity that said, let's really define what that means, okay? Because efficiency does not necessarily mean, or spending less does not necessarily mean you're highly efficient, okay? It could mean that you're very lean and going without. And when we go without, our students go without. And we took a lot of effort in the last 5 years to make up on that, okay? If we want to know what's at risk because of this forecast, it's that box in the middle and all these performance indicators around the outside, okay? That's at risk, okay? That's our kids to do that. So that's not a traditional explanation of the forecast, but it is what's changed from October to today. It's what's changed because of some pieces of legislation that, yes, gave money back to taxpayers. We're not saying that's a good thing, okay? But we do believe that probably should have the make whole of that should be made up going forward from the state if the rules of the game are being changed on us. Okay, so that's where we're at. So any questions on that before we move to the action item? Again, sometimes as I ramble through it, I don't know if I confused you, made you afraid to ask the questions till later, but there's a lot of effort put into it. I do appreciate the fact that the Finance Committee, Mr. Patton, Mrs. Spencer kind of sat through that and looked at all of this presentation before we went into it.
As I say, I guess the only comment that I'll make is that obviously we're not making comments or asking questions because this is all we've been digesting. This is the information that we've been getting. We've had finance meetings. We've had meetings with his team. So this has been our world. Like, this is what's causing me to lose sleep at night. And so, just keep in mind, again, I only speak for myself. But when we sit up here and I'm not asking questions, it's because I've been asking questions and I've been digesting this. So this is just something that's definitely heavy on my heart as we move forward. And again, for the highlight that I'll put is that it's of no fault of our district. It's of no fault of our district.
And we actually started in depth at the retreat. We went over kind of a similar.
Yeah.
The numbers might not have been as great, but they were pretty similar.
Yeah.
To where we wanted to do that. So the action item is on the financial forecast, the recommendation to approve the financial forecast as presented, which includes the forecast, the notes, and the presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Romano. You've heard the recommendation. Would someone like to make a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Rudy. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Chumley. Is there any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Rudy?
Yes.
Mr. Chumley?
Yes.
Mr. Patton?
Yes.
Ms. Sanborn?
Yes.
Mrs. Spencer?
Yes.
5 yes. Thank you. And for my comments, I think I've said enough, so continue on. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on is board comments. I'll start with Mr. Rudy.
None.
Thank you. Ms. Spencer?
Okay, well, I do, it just kind of piggyback off the financial committee meeting that we did have last week. I appreciate the opportunity to better understand the future of the West Clermont Local School District and the challenges ahead. Unfortunately, in their zeal to provide property tax relief to homeowners, lawmakers inadvertently caused our district to lose a significant amount of funding. While the intent may have been to help residents, the unintended consequences has created financial strain for our schools. The board, along with our community, will continue to work together to navigate the challenges ahead and ensure a strong future for the West Clermont Local School District. We also had an educational meeting right before this meeting, and we did discuss the importance of continuing to prepare students for everything, not just one specific path, but for a full range of opportunities and challenges that they may face in the future.
Thank you. Ms. Ambler?
I appreciate the administrators that gave me thank you notes for being a board member. I put them in a scrapbook to keep. I look at them at least twice a week to remind me of why I'm on the board. It really makes me feel special. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Chumley?
Hope our kids had a good day off. Mine drove me crazy today. Like Tammy said, we had a education committee meeting today. We learned about how we're implementing Leader in Me and using the 7 habits of highly effective people with our staff, but also implementing that into our children, and it's great to see kind of how that's evolving. And you guys will be hearing more about that in the coming months, so it's good to get a little sneak preview of what you guys will be hearing, and it's a lot of great information, and it's very encouraging, so I want to thank the team for that. And to piggyback off that, although Dan likes to bring the doom and gloom, as he regularly does, I will continue to adamantly state that we have the best team in the state. So no matter what challenges or hurdles that are placed in front of us, I have no doubt that we're going to find a way to not only just cross them, but succeed through it. So I'm, again, encouraged, and I just love the team that we have and what we've done so far, and look forward to what we're going to do even through crap like this. So.
Thank you, Mr. Chumley. First and foremost, because I keep forgetting to do this at each one, our next board meeting, before I forget, because it's also a change of location, our next board meeting will be March 9th, 2026, and at 7 p.m. It will actually be at WT Elementary. So WT will be hosting us at our next board meeting. So again, March 9th, 2026 at 7 p.m. at WT Elementary. So again, I just want to emphasize that. I had originally decided, but I feel like I've talked enough this particular meeting. One of the things I do want to highlight, which I was going to plan on reading some of it, perhaps next time I will. One of the things that we've done probably about 2 years ago, spearheaded by Ms. Spencer, is that she wanted us to get a handbook. So there's a board handbook that we as board members, it's kind of like our guiding light. This is what we do. This is kind of what we follow. This kind of helps us keep us in our role. There's many things that I thought I knew about being a board member, that when I became a board member, I quickly realized I knew nothing about being a board member. And so this was definitely helpful. And so, you know, one of the things that, again, I was planning on reading a couple of pages or paragraphs, but I decided to keep about it. But one of the important pieces that I've already kind of emphasized tonight is that I, individually, on the street, am Ryan Patton. I am not Ryan Patton, a board member. I do not make any decisions. I do not have any, I have opinions, but I do not make any decisions when I'm out there, when I'm at the community, when I'm at a basketball game, when I'm at a play, if I'm coming to your schools. I make no decision. I have no authority. It's not until we are here at this stage or at this moment where the 5 of us are here and something is presented to us that then we have a decision or we make have a deciding factor. The other piece of this is that obviously I've been in the community for many years. I've worked in the district for many years, so I have lots of friendships that I have built over the years of being in the district. But what has to be important is that I cannot base my decision based off of my sole friend or based off of decisions that I hear or input that I hear from a sole person. I have to look at the totality of our district. I have to look at what's good for not only Merwin, but what's good for Holly Hill, what's good for the middle school. I have to look at everything, and sometimes that's very tough. Chuck actually asked me a question when I became a board. I'm working on my second term, but he asked me if it's what I thought it was going to be when I got on, and I'll tell you it was not. I had not a clue what I was going to be doing here, and I've quickly bumped my head many, many times. Michael helped me along the way, telling me I bumped my head. And so I just simply say, and I simply remind, I will encourage my other fellow board members to make sure that we had this created, to make sure that we take a look at this, and that we kind of use this as our beacon, our star here that we follow, to make sure that we're following with it. And again, I love to hear from the community, but when I'm out at the grocery store, I'm just Ryan Patton. I'm not Ryan Patton, a board member. I'll listen, I'll take things into consideration, but I have to take everything into consideration. I have to take things that Dan knows that he's telling me. I have to take things that Dr. Foltz is saying, hey, I need more of this, but I need less of this. I have to take all of those things. So I apologize, I've rambled. This has been kind of a passionate night, but I just want to make sure that I clarify that I do hear everybody. I listen to everybody. I listened to everybody. I hear everybody talk. But I have to take the whole totality of the circumstance when I make a decision. I take this role very, very seriously, and so I just have to make sure I take the whole totality of the circumstance. I've closed my laptop. Obviously, you can see how passionate I got because I wasn't done to close it just yet. So I am done rambling. Again, emphasize our meeting is March 9th at 7 p.m. at WT. I look forward to them hosting. At this point, we do not go into executive session, but at this point, to kind of spearhead this handbook that we have created, or that was created for us, we're going to actually move into like a board retreat. It's not going to be streamed. It is open to the public. You're more than welcome to stick around. I think we're going to move downstairs.
Riverview room, all the other rooms are booked.
Okay, the river room. But this is just going to give us the time to kind of do a little self-reflecting on us, how we're doing as board members. You're more than welcome to, I don't know if everybody will fit into that room, but we can have a standing audience. But we are going to move from that. There will be no decisions made. There will be no voting taking place. Nothing else will be taking place.
Is there an opportunity for us to take a break between that meeting and this meeting?
Absolutely, I would love a break.
Okay.
So have I rambled enough? Have I covered everything? There's no votes. Do we need to make any other motion? Are we making a vote to go into this?
You just need to make a statement about taking a break when you're coming back.
Okay, well, we are going to take a break. What is it?
10 minutes?
10 minutes. We'll be back in 10 minutes.
Okay. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn?